What's going on, guys? So now that we have added the Google Places autocomplete, and now it's time to persist this in the database. So what I will have to do is we're going to be using, by the way, mongodb or mongodb. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here and I'll say npm install. I'm going to do npm install mongodb and mongoose, and we're going to hit it. All right, cool. With that installed, then what we can do now is we can go ahead and start creating the schema, and I think I will leave it at that. And for that, we'll come here and I will minimize this, and we'll create a new folder and we will call it schemas like that. Cool. Now within this, I will create a new file and I will call it parking locations.ts. All right, then I'll come here and I will basically export, and I'll say interface, and I'll say parking location extends document. Okay, this document is going to come from Mongoose. So what we will do is we're going to bring in a bunch of dependencies. So I'll say document, let's see, document, and okay, so let's see, from, and I will say mongoose like that. What I also need is I need schema, and I also need model, and then I also need models. All right, so that's what I need. And then inside of here, I'm going to copy and paste from my notes, because it is just address, GPS codes. So GPS codes, in the previous tutorial we created this, the lat long, and we can import that from our types right there. All right, so we have price. So let's see, do we have price? We don't have price. So we can go ahead to types and create the price, and the price only we have is hourly. If you have other price types, you can add them here. So I'm going to go back here and let's see, do I do price? And cool, so I have price here. So basically just all the info about the parking location, the address, the GPS code, number of spots, price, status, and location. And this is all coming from, remember when we do the stepper, so we're kind of matching it to that. This is going to be GeoJSON, so this will be used when we're going to do the search within a certain radius. So that's why we are doing it like that. All right, then I'm going to come here and I will do const, and I'll do parking location schema, and it's going to be a new schema like that. It's going to be of type parking location, and then we're going to come here and all you do is just basically, you know, define these. So I'm not going to type them because that's going to be boring. So what I will do instead is I will just pick them from here, and then parking location. So again, that's in the our util. So what I will do is I'll come here and so guys, I'm pasting these because these are just very simple enums. There's no need to type them. It's just waste time. So that's why I have it here, and I will do status. Cool, so that's coming here. So what we're saying is just the address, location, and as I said, this is in GeoJSON format, so we can search the nearby locations, and the type is point, and the coordinate is going to be an array of number, and then number of spots, and blah blah blah. One thing I will do on this one is I'm going to enable the timestamps, so we can know like when it was created, just for audit purposes. True, like that. All right, so once you have done that, then like I'm sure you have seen MongoDB by now. So I'll do parking location model, and I'll say models dot, and I'll say parking location, or if it's not there, and then just basically define it. I mean, so here what we're saying is if we already have it, take that. Otherwise, we are going to say parking location, and it's going to be parking location schema like that. All right, so that's going to get us started with parking locations. Now what we also need to do is we need to come here and create a new folder. Well, we already have libs actually. We need to create the database adapter, whatever you want to call it, so we can connect to the database. So I will come here in my lib folder and I'll say db.ts. And basically if you go to the Nextjs, Vercel Nextjs, and this link, I'm gonna copy it here. And let me close this. So you can go here and take this code, which basically connects to the MongoDB database in Next.js. So I'm going to paste that here. And all we're doing is, as I said, this approach is taken from this example. So you can go here. And then what we have is, okay, I don't need this dual twice. We have Mongo client, Mongoose, and then by the way, we also need to define this. So I'm going to get to that. And then all you do is just, if you already have a client, then use that. Otherwise, we're going to connect to the database and create our client. You only do this in the development because if you keep connecting again and again, it's going to be a problem. But in production, you have the server running and you have no problem. So anyway, so I'm going to save this. And now we're going to go to MongoDB. All right, so you can create the cluster if you don't have one. Just go ahead and create the cluster. But since I already have a cluster, it's going to be cluster 0, and it's going to be automatically selected. If you want to connect to the database, just hit connect, and then go to drivers, and then they're going to show you the URI that you have to use to connect to the database. And then you can also see how they tell you to install MongoDB. So I've already covered this in my other tutorials. You can watch them. Anyway, so I'm going to go to browse collections. All right, so I'm just going to resize this, and I have nothing, so I'm just going to add my own data, and I will call it parking. Let's just call it smart parking or gateless parking. And this one, I'll just call it test. I'm going to delete it anyways, or just leave it. Anyway, so then once that is created, and then because we have the table, the schemas here, that is going to create the parking locations table here for us when we start saving the data. Anyway, so now what I'll do is I'll go back here, and then remember we have these steps we go through, and then we add these to the submission. So what I can do is I can close this one, and then I'm going to close this one, and then I don't need this, and I don't need this. So remember guys, we added this final submit, so now we can use this. Right, so for that, I'll come here, and under the app, I'll create a new folder. And I'm going to call it API. And then under the API, I'll create a new folder, and I'll say parking location, like that. So I'm going to be doing a mix of actions and APIs, so you can just see both. And I'll create a new folder, and I'll call it new. Then within that, I'll create a new file, and I'm just going to call it route.ts, like that. All right, cool. So I'm going to whoa, I don't need to do that. I'm gonna minimize this, and what we can do is we can say export async. I'll say function post. Okay, and then we're gonna have a request, and it's gonna be next request. All right, and then what I will also do is I'm gonna have a response. I don't know if we will actually use the response, but I'm just gonna bring it in for fun. What the heck? Cool. So then I'm gonna do try. And then first thing I will do is I'm going to connect to my DB like that. All right, so when that is done, then what I will do is I'll say form data. That's the form we are submitting. It's going to be form data. It's equal to await request dot form data, like that. And then I can do data is equal to form data dot get. We're going to be passing it in the parameter data. I'll say a string. Cool. And then I can do parking spot or parking location, whatever you want to call it. Then we're gonna parse it, and I'll say JSON.parse, and we'll do data, and you want to just say parse it as parking location. You know, I'll call it parking location. What the heck? That makes more sense. Cool. So that's that. Brought in the parking location. Amazing. And then what I will do is I'm going to, you know what? Let me fix this catch because this guy's complaining, I think, about that. And I will do error. And I'm going to console log the error. so we know what the heck is going on. And then I will return new next response. Yeah, okay, and let's just do server error. If you're here, that means something bad happened. And let's just do a status of 500. Cool, so that's that. And then what we can do is I can say create, or I can say record is equal to await. Now we're going to say parking location model, and you're just going to do create. Cool, and then we're just going to supply the stuff, I guess the variables, and I'll say parking spot or parking location dot address. All right, and then the next one will be GPS coords, and this will be parking location dot GPS coords, like that. Location, whoa. Now one thing, let's see, parking location that's coming from here. If I go here, yep, that's that. I just want to make sure we're getting the correct one, because for some reason for us the autocorrect is not coming. Let me see if I need to, can I do parking location? Will that work then? Location, yeah, there you go, that's coming up. All right, cool. And then what I will do is I'll say coordinates, okay. It's gonna be parking, because remember we're using the GeoJSON thingy, so that's why we need to do this. I'll say parking location dot GPS course dot launch, and parking location dot GPS course dot lat. So remember, one thing for GeoJSON you have to do is you got to store it in the reverse order. Took me time to figure this out, because I was doing the search and I was giving the wrong radius. So you have to, because usually we store it in latitude and longitude, but you got to store this the opposite. So that's that. All right, and then I'm just going to quickly paste the other ones. So like the number of spots, price, and that. So I'm just going to fix this real quick. Cool. So when you have that set, then all you do is you basically, well, it's created already, right? If there's an error, error is going to be caught up. But what we can do, we can say next response, like that, and we're just going to return a JSON response, and the message will be something like parking spot created, or parking location, parking location created. And you know what we can do, parking location, well, I like to keep my responses all in lowercase, and then that's going to be the record. Cool. So if everything went well, this should actually technically create the parking location for us in the database. All right, I hope we didn't make any mistakes. Okay, I'm going to go back here and we can start using it here. All right, so in here I'm going to get rid of this, and let's see. So we have this set submitting. I'll just set submitting to true just before you submit this crap, and then I'm going to do data is equal to new form data, right? So that's what we're submitting, form data, and I'll say data.set. Okay, cool, data, and I'll say json.stringify this crap, and then I can do my spot store dot data. Cool. Remember we created the store, we're keeping everything here, so now we can use it. And then we're going to shoot the request off to the server, and I'll say await. I will use the fetch API, and I'll say API, and I'll do parking location new, because that's our route, and we're just going to give it the method. So the method is post, right? And then the body is going to be just the data right here. Cool. So this guy's complaining because it's not async. So okay, that takes care of that. And then finally, when we are done, then I'm going to set this to false, and then we're going to do if result dot okay. If thing went okay, then what we want to do is we can say router dot refresh, right? So we brought in this router before, now we can use it. So we want to refresh the route so we can see the result. Otherwise, we're just gonna show error, right? I don't know if we installed the toast thingy, but let's go ahead and install that from Shatcn thingy. So I'm talking about this. Cool. So I'm gonna come here, copy npm, come here, bam, boom, done, install. All right, so that's installed like that. All right, and then let's see if I can come here and I can just do toast. Yeah, like that. Error. Okay. Failed to create the parking location, right? And if success, I can say toast dot not symbol dot success, and we say record created. Cool. Well, one thing you need to do for this toast thingy is you need to come here to the main layout, the main layout. I think it's this one. And what you want to do is you want to put this toaster somewhere here. So this is my body. So what I'll do is I'll put it in my body and I'll say toaster. Yeah, like that. Otherwise your toast is not going to show. So that will take care of that. Let's just refresh this and make sure that works. Okay, it's thinking. All right, cool. Let's why don't we go ahead and add a location and see if it'll come up in the database, and then we can maybe show it in the locations and stuff. Cool. So I'm gonna add like CN Tower. All right, let's add number of spots, like let's say 3, and it's gonna be an expensive place. I'm gonna say $20. And okay, so yada yada yada. Okay, submit. Failed to create the parking location. Cool. Error. Amazing. Doesn't go well on the first try always. Well, let's see what the heck is going on. Oh yes, we didn't set this in the end file. How dumb of us. All right, so I'm gonna put this here, and let's go ahead and do that. So I'm gonna go to my, where is it? Let me expand this. I didn't want to put a debug. All right, I need to go to the end file and I need to put this somewhere here. So I'll say mongodb. Okay. Okay, since I already have it, I'm just gonna paste it here, save it, and I'm gonna close this. Cool. You guys can put yours. I showed you guys where to get it. All right, let's try this again. So I'm going to, so this is the last time we did it, and let's just submit it again. All right, cool. Another error. Amazing. Let's see what's going on. And I'm going to expand this. I feel like this is the best part of coding when you're trying to like figure out what's going on. Okay, for some reason I can't get the handle. Anyway, so let's see what's going on. That was the error from before. And cannot read properties of undefined reading L and G. Interesting. Route.ts number 2. Okay, so it looks like we're hitting the route. And that's the parking location new 22. All right, cool. Let's go to route.ts. All right. Okay, right here, GPS coords. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to console log. Let's see what the heck are we getting. Parking location, right? And we're going to see what we're actually getting. I'm going to hit submit. And did I hit submit? No, I had to submit. Okay. Let's see. Let's scroll down. Okay, here we go. So if I look here, then address is this. That's good. GPS coords is parking location.gps coords. Then coordinates is parking location dot GPS coords right here. Dot .lng. Yeah, that makes sense. Parking location dot lat. But it is saying cannot read properties of undefined reading LNG. It cannot read. All right, cool. Been just debugging, and what I found out that one of the mistakes that I was making is look at the name is GPS coords. All right, so let's see. If I go to my, I think it was in the store. So if I come here, yeah, there's one extra O here, and that's gonna just do a whole bunch of. A bunch of things are gonna go off the rail. So let's see. I'm gonna close this, and then where we are adding the add location. Let's see, spot address. Yeah, here. And I'm going to, you know what I'll do? Let me just do a search in the project. Let's see what all this is. And I need to fix this. And then there's one here. Brilliant. All right, I'm gonna close this, close this one. And let's try this again. So we're gonna do list another. I'm gonna close this. All right, and let's just do this again. CN tower. All right, and we're gonna do next and 3 spots. Let's say it's gonna be 25 bucks. All right, so we got all that. Submit. Woohoo! Record created. Awesome. All right, so that's good. If I go here, I'm gonna do that. By the way, it created this table. I don't need this test anymore. I'm gonna do delete. Drop that. All right, and let's just click on that. Look at that. And we actually got a parking location. So here's the address and here's the location. That's the GeoJSON thingy. And I got the GPS coordinates also. I got the price. It's an hourly 25. It's available. Beautiful. All right. So now that we have the parking spot created, I can actually then in here through the locations, we don't have it yet, but we can actually create this switcher view and we can see the map view and the tile view. Okay, so let's come here and we already have the tile view. Let me see. Yeah, so we have a tile view and then within this we can start cracking away at this. So what I will do here is, since this is a server component, then I can come here and first connect to the database, and I'm gonna bring this here, and then I need to come here and I need to make this a sync like that, a sync like that. Cool. And then I can do basically is locations, and it's gonna be an array of parking location right here like that. Let me close this so we can easily see it. And then what I will do is I'll say await and I'll say parking location model dot find. So we want to get all of them, right? Like that. And then I'll just say parking location like that. Cool. All right. So one thing I will do, let's just quickly locations, spit that to the screen. I'm going to refresh this. So since it's on the server, we're not going to see it here in the console like here, but we should see it right here. There. So as you can see, it's giving us the parking location. Let me refresh this. And yeah, so we're just getting one. That's good. Cool. So that's that. So now let's start displaying this and see how we can display it. So I'm going to come back here. I'm going to create a new folder and we're going to call it components like that. And within this, I'm going to create a location card.tsx like that. So I don't know if we have already installed the card from Shatien, but I'm going to go to component UI and let me just see, quickly take a look. No, we have not. So let's go to card and I'm going to copy this, come here, and then we can install that. Okay, so with that done, then I can close this, and then what I can do, I can say const. So I can do const location card. Okay, and what I will do is I'm just going to do this one differently. So it's going to be a React function component, and we're just going to give it some props, and then like that. Okay, and then what I will do is I'm gonna come here and we will return some stuff. So for now I will do card from UI components card, and I'll do class name of width dash full. Okay, and on large and above I'm just gonna give it a width of 350 pixel like that. So let me close this like that. All right, so now it's complaining what's props. So props is just the kind of stuff we're passing to it. So basically the ID, name, address, and blah blah blah. So I will come here and I will put this here like that. So now I can start using this. Let me save it. Let's go back here and let's refresh this, and nothing is happening because we're not using it yet. All right, so what I can do is I can say a card header like that, and then I can say card title, So now here we need a switch, so we can toggle the thing on and off. For now, I'll just do a switch, so an on-off switch like that. All right, so then we have the cart header, cart title, and then what I will do is, sorry, after the cart title, I'm gonna come here and I'll say cart description like that, and let's in here put the address like that, and then I'm going to give it a class name of text-md. So why don't we use it so we can start seeing this thing in action. So if we go back here, this is the place we can use it. So I'm going to do this. All right, and then what we can do is I can say locations, okay, and we can say dot map, okay, and then we're going to go over these locations. So I'll say location and like that, and then what I will do is I'll say location card. All right, let me see why this is not coming up. So let's go here, location card. Oh, we're not exporting that, so I'll say export location card like that. Let's just do default. Cool, so that's that. So now if I come here and I'll do card, yeah, cool, there you go, that's coming up. So now let's go ahead and pass the parameters. So first of all, give it the key so we can get rid of that error, I guess, and we need to pass in the other parameters. So ID is going to be the same thing, location.id like that. And you know what I'll do is I will just copy and paste the other parameters, because all we're doing is just passing the parameters, that's all. So the name, the address, so I can say location, and it's going to be that, and that's all we're doing is just passing the parameters. Okay, so locations.map, why is this guy giving the error? Yeah, so one thing I will do is I'm going to put this, I'm going to take this and I'm going to cut it and I'm going to put it here. All right, so now that's fixed. Now get street from address. So the problem is if we put the address as it's going to show the postal code and all, but I want to show it in a nice way. So we have to have this function, and this function is in the utils. So if I come here, lib utils, I can come here and I can say export function, and we'll say get street from address like that, and then we pass in the address a string, okay, and then all we do is we say return address dot split. So split it by the comma, and then we're going to return the first value in the array. So let me go back here and I'm going to come here and let's just see if that works. Cool, so that works, and then this variable name should be location like that. Let me save it. Look at that. All right, so that's coming, and let me go here in the, let me close this because we just have too much stuff open. So here's the car, right? So we need to start working on this. One thing I see is this is taking all the space. So if I expand, yeah, that's not nice. So we want to have some sort of a grid. So for that, I'll go back here. I'm going to close this and I'm going to go here. Let's close this also. Yeah, this one, we need to fix this. So I'm going to go and I'll say grid. I'm going to save it. And then large one above, I'm going to say grid dash columns dash 4. All right. And then also medium and above, grid dash columns. And I'm going to do dash 2. There we go. And then gap dash 2. And then we're going to padding dash 2. Whoop, dash 2. Cool. So actually we only have, let me see, one location. How about we add another location? So if I come here and I'm going to do Spadina Avenue, Toronto, next. Let's say we have 4 spots. I'm going to hit next. Pricing, let's say $12, and I'll say submit. Cool. As you can see, the other thing came, and I'm going to close this. So that's the other location. Pretty awesome. If I expand this, they're going to come like this. And that's the mobile view, that's the tablet view. Cool, that's pretty cool. Go to location card and start working on this. All right, so we need this switch right now, and the way we're gonna do this is we're gonna come here And in here, I'm gonna do location enable switch.tsx like that, and then we're gonna make this location toggle switch like that. Okay, cool. And I'm gonna save it, and immediately I'll come here. And you know what? Wait a minute. Let me just write this out, and then we can work on that. So before I do that, I want to make sure we have switch installed. And I'm gonna come here. Let me see. There was a switch somewhere. Yeah, here. So we're after this. I'm gonna copy this npm, and then we're gonna paste this here and let it install. Done. All right, cool. With that done, and then what we can do is I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna give it a class name here, and let's just start with flex, and we'll say justify between like that. Now we need to pass in these props. So what I'll do is I'll say props, and then what we can say props is basically a string. All right, and then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create a type, and I'll say switch props. Okay, like that. So I have ID string, name string, and I have a status as string. So the reason why we're doing it is because this is inside of a server component, and this is a client component. So we need to there's a way we need to pass in the parameters like stringify it and the parse it, and then I can do here is ID status name, right, like that. And then what I can do, I can say json.parse, okay, and I can do props, and I'll say switch props. Whoop, switch props like that. Okay, and then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use this hook from React. It's called transition. So I'm going to do is pending. So you get this, and then you get start transition. Okay, and we will do use transition from React. Cool, like that. And then other thing I'll do is I'll say path name is equal to use path name. I'm going to use that from next navigation like that. I think we need to do this. And then finally I'll do active is equal to, so if status is equal to parking location status dot available, right? So that'll be that. And then now what I can do here is I can come here and I can say, I think these should be the ticks. Cool, like that. And then I can say active, right? Then you do text dash green dash 500. Otherwise we have text dash gray dash 200, like that. And then within this I'm going to put the name, okay, like that. And then the other thing I will do is also is if it's pending, then we're gonna show a loader. Okay, so well, let me just put that for now. Otherwise I'm going to do a switch, which is from components, this one, and then check state is equal to active, like that. And then on click we need a click handler. I'll say handle toggle, we'll say switch, like that. So now I'm gonna come here, and then we can come here and I'll say const handle toggle switch, like that. Okay, and it's gotta do something. So let me see why is this guy giving us an issue. So return, and oh, I think we probably didn't close this one. Yeah, that's the problem. Cool, is that fixed? Yeah. All right, so that organizes that. Okay, why don't we go ahead and use this here? So if I come here and I say location card, ID is going to be ID. It's going to be ID, and then name is equal to name, like that. Cool. And finally status is going to be status, like that. Let's do that. Okay, we're having an issue here. Location card, let's see what's the problem. Props, what did we do wrong? Oh, because this is a server component and this is a client component, so you cannot just pass the parameters like that. You have to do it a certain way. So you have to do props is equal to, and then I'm gonna do like this. Okay, and I'll say JSON. Okay, I'll say stringify. Okay, and then you come here, then you pass these in like that. So I'll do ID that, and then comma, and then I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that. Actually, it should be like this, 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 that, that, and then we'll do this. Okay, so that's how we're gonna pass in the props. And let me see, location card switch. Okay, I think we location toggle switch. Sorry, that's what it is. Wrong name. Location toggle switch. There you go. So let me just fix that. Let me save it. Oh, there you go. So that's coming in nicely. Now the one problem is, like, if I click on it, nothing is happening, and that's because, yeah, this function has to do something. Okay, so for that to happen, what we can do is I can come here and we're going to create a new folder, and I'm going to say actions. All right. And within that, I'll create a new file and we're going to call it actions.ts. And then I can create a function, I'll say export async function. Okay, and I'll say toggle location like that. And to this, I'm going to pass the ID and the path. And the reason we're passing the path is, well, you will see. So ID is a string, path is a string like that. And I'm going to do this. Cool. All right, so with that done, then what I can do, I can say const find the location first. And I'll say await. I'll say parking location model dot find by ID. Let me close this. Okay, and then I can basically just pass in the ID. Now to get access to the variables, I'll say parking location like that. Okay, cool. So if location is found, if we have a location, okay, then what we do is we can say location dot status is equal to location dot status. Okay, if it is parking location dot status dot available, right? Then what we do, we say parking location status, status dot available, right? Otherwise parking, sorry, not available, because we're just toggling. Okay, and let me do it this way. Otherwise parking location status dot available. Cool. So that's that. And then what I can do, I can say const result is equal to await. We say location dot save. We're going to save it. And if result, okay, then what we do is say we revalidate the path. So now revalidated path is coming from next cache, and it's going to be this path. Cool. So all we're doing is we're saying is if the status available, make it not available, and if it is available, then you make it, well, if it's available, we make it not available. If it's not available, we make it available. Now I think I have an extra A here. Is that not available? Okay, I think I probably have a typo here. Let's see. Yeah, this should be this. Just one A here, one A here. Cool. All right. So then what I can do, I can come here and I can use this hook. Now I can say start transition. Okay, and then async. And then in here, what I can do, you can say await toggle location. We're gonna get that action. I'm gonna pass it the ID, and path is going to be the path name like that. So that's going to take care of that, and let's save it. And I'm going to fix this error first. So let's see. All right, so I think I know what the problem is. So if I go here, I'm going to go here, actions. Yeah, we need to connect to the database first, so that will be nice. Okay, so I'm going to save it, and let's see. Right, I think one thing we need to do in these actions, you need to come here on the top because it looks like this is running on the server. sorry, this is running on the client, and client doesn't have access to this MongoDB URI, so that's why we're getting this error. So in your actions, you want to do this. I'm going to save it, and there we go. So now if I toggle this, perfect. As you can see, the thing is refreshing the status. If I refresh it, it remembers, and you can see the text is changing. So that's pretty cool. So I'm going to come back here, and I think we need to, yeah, we need to start working on the rest of the card. So I'm going to come here, and right here under the card header, we need the card content, like so. And I'm going to do the card footer as well. So I'll say card footer. Okay, and that will be the card footer. I'm going to save it, and there you go. And then in here under in the card content, I'm going to create a div, and I'm going to say margin bottom dash 4. It's going to be grid dash columns dash 1 1, and then I'll say items dash start and padding bottom dash 4, and that's that. So let me save that. So there you go. Then I'm going to do space dash y dash 2. I hate typing these classes, by the way. It's no fun. And then what I'll do is I'll create a p, and I'm going to give it a class name of text dash sm, and this will be the hourly price. And what we will do, we will say, remember we create this function format amount for display, and we're going to pass in the price dot hourly, and we'll say CAD, Canadian. Cool, and like that. Let's see what that does. Cool, so there you go. The price is coming, and then I think we can give it some more classes. So I'll say font medium. That's gonna do that, and then finally leading. I'm gonna do dash leading dash none. Okay, so that does that. So now I need to do for the other one, which is the number of spots and all, and blah blah blah. So honestly, I don't feel like typing that because it's just a bunch of paragraphs. Let me just format this. So all we're doing is just a number of spots, the spots booked and spot available. I'm going to save it, and that's what you get, the horizontal line. That's this one, and let me just expand this. There you go. So you're going to see this on desktop, and then that's mobile, and this is your tablet. All right, so now for the card footer, we need a delete button and an edit thingy. So let's do that. So let's add the location delete button. So I can do location delete. Okay, and I'll say dash button tsx, and let's just quickly do this location delete button like that. Close it, and then I can come here. Let me close this one because we don't need this, we don't need this, don't need this. Right here is what I can do, location delete button. Cool, let me save it. So there you go, that's that. And then in here, let's start adding the stuff. So I'm sure we need to pass it something, and what we need to pass is I think the same thing we did before, where we passed the props. So I'll do props, okay, and then I'll say props is a string. We need to create that type, and this is the same one as before, just the switch props. So I'm just gonna copy them here and paste them here. Okay, type switch props like that. Cool, so I'm gonna save it, and then what we need to do here is the same thing. I'll just take the ID from this one, and what I will do, I'll say json.parse, okay, like that, props switch props like that. And then also need to do is const is pending, and then start transition, okay, and then this is coming from the use transition from React like that, and then const. So we need to show a dialog box to the user, like if they want to delete the location. So that's why we're gonna do this open set open, and it's gonna be a state, and it's gonna be like that. So initially it's false. Cool. So what happened? Okay, yeah, need to pass the props. So I'll do props and then okay, so what I need to do this, and then what I need to do is say JSON dot stringify, okay, and then ID, ID is ID, like that. Cool. Let's see if that fixes the stuff for us. And you are importing on the use state, but oh yeah, so we're using state and all. So I guess we need to do use client. Let's see. Cool. That fixed that problem. I think we're not using the rest of them. So honestly, I'm just gonna name it properly. Okay, that's that. And then let me see if I can pump out the ID here. Cool. So the ID of these two are coming here. That's pretty cool. All right, so let's close that. Okay, so what I need to do here is I'm going to just do this to make this happy. And then what I can do like this. So if is pending, right? Then we can say deleting, right? Otherwise, we create a button from UI button, and it's going to be a variant of ghost, like that. And then on click, what we do is we say set open to true, right? That's going to open the dialog box. And then inside of here, I'm going to do trash to icon, like that. And let's just give it a color of red. Okay, like that. Let me save it. Perfect. So there you go. So this is coming. So now what we need to do, we need to create a confirmation dialog. But before we do that, I'm going to come here and I'm going to, so how we did before, we had the path name and the function to delete. We have that exact thing here. But what I will do is also use path name from next navigation, like that. And now we have this delete location. So what's delete location? Well, delete location is going to be in action, so we need to create that. And delete location is very simple. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste this here, and we're going to do delete location, like that. Okay, we're passing the ID and path. We're going to connect to the database, right? And then what we're going to do is we're just going to say find by ID and delete. We're passing the ID here, so we don't need this. And then we're just going to say delete result. Okay, I'm going to copy this and I'll say if delete result, if we were successful in deleting the item, then all we do is we say revalidate the path and then the path. Cool, that's how simple it is. And then in here, I can just come here and I can say delete location, like that. I'm going to save it. All right, cool. So now this function is not going to call. So we need that confirmation dialog thingy happening. That we need to create an alert dialog. And let me just see if we have already created alert dialog. I don't see it. All right, so we're going to go to chatcn and let's see. Where is alert dialog? This is the alert dialog. That's the one I'm talking about. Continue, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to copy this, come here. We're going to paste this here and let us do its magic. And then cool. So with that done, so under the components, I'm going to create a new file, like that. And then I'm going to call it confirmation dialog.tsx. And then I'll say confirmation dialog, like that. All right, cool. And then what I can do is I'm going to copy all of this from here. Don't need to type it again. And then I'm going to copy this also. Let me paste this here. Let me just organize this a bit. I'm going to save it. Cool. And let me just close that. All right, so confirmation dialog is going to take some props and it's going to take a message, and then it's going to take an open and then on close and then on confirm, right? Because these are three callback functions. Well, the two other callback functions. Okay, and let's just define these props. So message is a string like that, and then open is a boolean. That's what's going to open it. On close, that's a function that returns nothing, and on confirm, it's a function that returns nothing. Cool. So that's that. And then alert dialog, what we can do, we can say open is equal to open, like that. And then on open change, it's going to call the on close. Beautiful. All right, so I don't need this trigger because we're triggering it ourselves. But what I will do is, are you absolutely sure? And then in here, I'm going to put our message like that. So that will be that. And then alert dollar cancel is that. And then this one continue. All we have to do is when we click it, we're going to call the onConfirm. There you go. Confirmation dialog done. All right. So then I'm going to come here. Let me just organize this a bit. And what I will do is after this one, I will say confirmation dialog. There you go. Message will be something like by continuing. I'm not going to type this. I just don't have the patience for it. So we'll come here and we will say this like that, and then open. Okay, I will say open. Yeah, these should not be square brackets. These should be the squigglies. Let me scroll up so you guys can see what's going on. And then on close, okay, all we do is we say set open to false. And then on confirm, what I will do, I'll say handle confirm. Cool. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so that should work. Let me refresh this. If I hit this, that's that. If I try to delete now, are you absolutely sure by continuing? You're going to, okay, whatever. So let me cancel. Let's delete this 32 Spadina. What do you guys think? I'm going to hit it, continue. All right, so that's gone. Let's refresh. And I only have one location, 290 Bremner. How cool is that? Let's go ahead and create. I'm going to refresh this. Let's go here. I'm going to add another location, and this time I'm just going to add 34. Let's say Spadina Avenue. I don't know why. Avenue, Toronto. It'll be cool if somebody living at this address is watching this. So let's say I have 3 number of spots, and then I'm going to pick the price at 12, submit, and there you go. That's coming up. Let's do another one. How about I do a 30 Spadina? The reason why I'm adding these addresses close by so we can do later on the geo thingy and we can see these addresses. So this is 24 bucks. Oops, sorry. I'm going to do 3 spots, and then the pricing I'm going to do at $13, and let's just submit. Cool. So there you go. So that's working, and I can come here, so that's coming nicely. All right, one thing we're missing is the edit thing, the button. So let's add that. So for that, what we can do is if I go to the location card, I'm gonna close this, and so we have the delete button right here. And what I will do is I'll add a link that's from next link like that, and href. Okay, so this will be something like this, and then we'll do edit. Okay, and for this I will do and let me do this, and let's do ID like that. Okay, and for this one, the icon, how about we give it a pencil icon like that. Color will be blue. Okay, and let's save it. All right, cool. So that's coming. If I hover my mouse, you can see at the bottom we're getting this edit. Now let's see. So it should be actually, so it's going to the root. What if I put a dot? So we're saying here. Let me save it and let's see. Okay, so now it's correct. Dashboard, locations, edit, and that. Okay, that's correct. So now we need to go ahead and create that. And this is at dashboard, locations, edit. So dashboard, locations, and I'm going to create a new folder. It's going to be called edit. And then within this edit, I will create a page.tsx, and I'll just say location edit page like that. So that's going to come here, and what it will take is going to take some params. So I'll say params. Okay, and we need to define what params is. So I'll say params, and then we can say location ID, and it's going to be a string like that. Cool. So I'm going to save it. So let's say we come here and we say params location ID. Right. So let's see if I click on this location, is this going to go and print the location ID of this? So if I come here, okay, let me refresh. So dashboard locations edit. Dashboard locations edit. Yeah, that's the path is correct, but why? Oops. So dashboard locations. So I have dashboard, then I have locations. Within locations, I have edit. Oh, I have the location ID. That's why. So within, I'm going to create a folder and I'm going to say location ID. And then what I need to do, I need to take this, I need to move it here. I'm going to save it. Cool. There you go. So that's what I'm talking about. So if I go to locations, if I come here, I'm getting this. I'm going to go back. I'm getting 3AC. And yeah, they're different. So there are different locations. Cool. So that's working. So that's how we're going to edit this. And while we're at it, maybe we should just edit this. So let's see in here. What I will do is I'm gonna just grab the location. So I'll say const. I'll say location is equal to await. Say parking location model. This one, and I'll say find by ID. Okay, let me close this, and then I can say location param dot location ID. Cool. So I think we need to do async. Cool. So that will work. And now what I can do is let's just do location dot address. Let me save it and let's see if now. So remember, it's 290 Bremner Boulevard. So if I come here, 290 Bremner Boulevard, pretty cool. How about Spadina? That's Spadina. And then this is also 30 Spadina. Pretty cool. I think that's nice. So now let's see how we can edit this. So for that, I think we need to create an edit form. And what I can do is I can just come here and I can say location edit form.tsx. So I'm going to save it and I'm just going to say location edit form. All right, here we go. So let's minimize this, and then what we can do is, so this one, by the way, is going to be the same as that we did when we were adding a location. So if I come here and let me see, tile view, map view, blah, blah, blah. Let me find it. Components and add location, number of spots. So what I will do, I'm going to take this form schema and I'm going to come here. I'm going to paste it here, and we need to also add the pricing to it. We're going to fix this, just bear with me. I'm going to take the pricing and I'm going to take this here. I'm going to copy it, and then I think I can just do this like that. Cool. So let me just fix that. Now we need to take the Z from here and I'm going to put this here. So that should fix that problem. Actually, that fixed that problem correctly. Cool. So that is that. And then what we had here was this. So I'm going to take this line and I'm going to put that here and form input. I'll call it form input, and it's going to be from form schema. That's pretty good. And what I also need is here. So I need to pass the location. So I'll say location, and then location is basically a string. Cool. So that's that. And then what I also can do is I can basically do const and say parsed location, parsed parsed location is equal to JSON dot parse. Okay. And I'll say location, and I'll say parking location like that. Whoa, don't need that. Let me close this, and this should be location. Cool. So like that. So I'm going to save it. And then since this is a form, this is going to be a client component. So we should come here and we should do this just so that we can avoid the errors. How about we actually use it? So this is the location edit form. So I can say location edit page, right? Did I say page or form? I think I called it, let me see, I think it was form. Yeah, that makes more sense. And then the parameter was the location. And what we can do, we can say JSON.stringify, okay, and then the location. Cool. So let me do that. I'm going to save it. So let's say I refresh this, and if I hit this one, cool. So the location edit form is coming. I'm going to come here, and that's that, because we need to add the address and stuff. And that's why we're passing the location as is. So what I will do is, first things first, let's just get rid of this. And as I said, I have no intention of typing the class names. So I'm going to take them from my notes, but all I'm doing honestly is just creating a container flex, and small and above is a width of half, background white, padding rounded, item center, and that's all. I'm going to save it, and that's all basically I created. And then for fun, let's just go ahead and put the parsed location dot address. There you go. So this is the one we are currently changing. And then what I will do is I'll say class name, and then say small and above. I'm going to create a 2XL. Nice and big. Cool, like that. Okay, so we need to create a form, but before creating a form, we need to come over here and we need to create that form object. So it's a const form variable, sorry. So I can say use form, and use form is coming from React form. It's going to be the form input like that. And then I can come here, and then what I will do, I'll say resolver, and then we can do Zod resolver, and then I can say here form schema. Cool, like that. And then we need to give it some default values. So we can say we can say a number of spots, and I can say parsed location dot number of spots, and then hourly I can say parsed location dot price dot hourly. Cool. So our form is going to get the locations of the field that we are editing, and then I can come here. And then what I will do is, remember how we created this form. So actually I'm going to copy this form. Let me copy it like that. I know there's going to be errors because we're copying and pasting, but we'll fix them. Okay, so first we need a form. We need a form field. So let's come here and let's just honestly grab all of this, and let's just put it here and see if that will fix our problems. Hopefully it should fix most of our problems. Cool. So we have this on submit. So what I can do, I can say const on submit. Okay, that's good. And it's going to be async, and it's going to take data. It's going to be form input like that. And so for starter, let's just log this data and see what happens. Okay, we need this input. So let me see. There's the input. So I'm going to take this and I am going to put it here. So that should fix that problem. Okay, we need the buttons. So for that, I will come here and let me see, button is here. So I'm going to copy this and let's go back here and I'm going to put this here. Okay, so this button is basically type submit. I'm going to call this save. Okay, and then the other button we're going to have is back. Okay, for now I'm going to remove this. We're going to add the thing later, but let's see how it looks. Okay, so save and back. So it looks like this is not what I wanted, but what I will do is I'll say flex dash column. So that's correct. And I'm going to give it a margin top of 4 like that. And for this one, the submit, I am not going to give it any variant. And I think what I want is I want this to be the first thing like that. Let me just organize this, save it. That's actually better. All right, so we have this, and then one thing I will do is, I think that's fine. And then let's go ahead and add the other field. And the other field is, let me bring this here. And this one I'm going to call number of spots. So let me see. Cool. So that's coming nicely. Let's just organize this a bit. I think we could add some classes here, I guess, to the form. So let me see, class name. And what we can do is we can say gap dash y dash 4. Let me see if that does anything. Let me save it, and looks like it didn't do much. Okay, and does that do anything? Cool, so there you go. So that worked, and if I had a container on that, that's what I'm talking about. So there you go. So now the form is nicely centered, and let me just expand this. So that's desktop, and that's your mobile view. Pretty cool. One thing I see is very close to the button on the top. So I think, let me see, do we have a margin top? So maybe I can do margin top dash 2. Yeah, there you go, that's better. So I can just do like that. That looks nice. So now we need to add the save functionality and on the submit button. But before I do that, I think I'll quickly fix the back button. So what we can do is I can say on click, right? And I can come here and I can say window dot history dot back. So that's gonna just hopefully help us go back. Let me do that. Cool. So let me edit the Bremner. Okay, that's the Bremner, 25 and 3, $25 and 3. Okay. How about Spadana is $12 and 3. $12 and 3. Okay, let's try to edit this. So here's the submit function. So what we can do is I'm going to close this and I'm going to close it. We're going to come here and we are going to add another function, and I will basically copy this and then I will say update location. So you guys are getting a hang of it now. It's once you have a thing set up like a process, then you can easily start repeating it. Okay, so I need to pass in a location. All right, cool. And then what I will do is I'm connecting to the DB. So what I need to do is, let me organize this a bit. Let me just close this also. We can come here, and then what I can do is I can say await parking location model dot update 1, right? And then what are we updating? Well, the thing with this ID, right? And then what you need to do is you need to call this set. And what are we setting? Well, we need to set the location, right? So what I can do, I can say location parameters. So what we can do is I can come here and I can say, let's just put it in the type. So in case we need to use it later, where is it? Types, index, cool. So what I can do, I can say export, and I'll say type, and it's going to be update location params, like that. And we just need to pass in the, whoa. So address. So I don't know if you will be modifying the address, because once you have an address, you have an address. You can delete this and add another one. But anyways, we'll do it here. And then price, I'm just gonna do hourly. It's a number. Cool. So it's update location params. I'm gonna close this, and then this location will be of type update location params, and then here I can say location, like that. Okay, so that should work. And then finally, regardless of whatever, we can just revalidate the path, and I'm just gonna do path like that. All right, so then let's see. So now if I come here, let's refresh everything. So let's say this is 34 Spadina, and we suddenly decided to increase the price to $18. So I'm gonna do save. Okay, I'm gonna go back, and it looks like it didn't update. Let me just refresh. Yeah, 34 Spadina is still $12. Let me go back here. Save file 18. I'm gonna do save. Yeah, cool. So we have a couple of problems. Number one is when I save, there's no status like telling me something happened. And then the other problem is, okay, problem number one I'm seeing already. Sorry, number two, we're not calling this function, so that's our biggest problem. And we need to have some sort of a notification that the update has occurred. So what we can do is we can come here, and do we have a progress thingy? No. So we need to first of all come here. We need to say progress, set progress, and then I can do use state false, right? And state. Cool. And then let me do set progress. I'm going to set this to true, and later on when we're done, I'm going to set it to false. That takes care of that. Okay, so we need to call this function await update location, and let's see. So we need to pass in the ID path and location. So let's see, we need to give it ID. So ID is parse location.id, and path is path name, and location is going to be, now for this one, the address is going to be the parsed location.address, and then the number of spots is going to be data.number of spots, and price is going to be data.hourly, like that. Price.hourly, is it like that? Let me just go update location to price. Yeah, it's an object. All right, so price hourly is gonna be like that. Come on, take it. All right, so let's see, are we calling this function? Yes, we're calling this function. We're doing that. We need to do this thingy where we're doing this progress. We're using this progress, but we're not using it. Okay, let's see. I think we can do it right here, like that. Okay, let's do this. Let's do that. Okay, what we can do, we can say progress. If we have progress, then I'm going to do loader. Otherwise, what we do is we do this, and then I'm going to take this, and I'm going to put it here. Let's fix this. All right, let's give it a put it on a test drive. So I'm going to go and I'm going to update this, and let's see what happens. So right now, remember, it's 25 and 3. So I'm going to hit edit, and let's say we decrease the price to $23, and number of spots I'm going to make it 4. What the heck? Save. Okay, something happened. I'm gonna go back. Okay, there you go. So that got updated. How about we update this? So instead of $12, we're going to increase by 1. We're going to increase by 1. So let me hit save. That got saved. So 13.4, 13. Are we updating the right thing? Let me just see. 34 Spadina. Okay, so let me make this 13. Let me hit save. Go back. Huh, that's interesting. Is it updating this one? Let me make this 14. Okay, so that's weird. Let me go here and see what happens. I'm gonna make this 17. I'm gonna hit save. Oh, interesting. For some reason, if you guys see, it's only updating this one. Okay, we have another problem. Why do I have 30 Spadina, 30 Spadina? Let's go check our database and see what's going on. I have 30 Spadina, 34 Spadina, 30 Spadina. Okay, so I've added Spadina 2 times. Let me delete this one Spadina. I'm going to continue. Cool. Let me go here. I'm going to refresh. Okay, for some reason I had duplicated record. I don't know why. Okay, so now let's go here and let's say I'm going to edit this. So I'm going to change this to 4. I'm going to hit save. I'm going to go back. Okay, so it's updating this one, the first one. And the address got changed as well. Oh, wow. We have a big problem here. Let me see. That's interesting. The IDs are different, but it looks like it's updating the wrong record. That's interesting. Let me see what the heck is going on. I'm gonna minimize this right here. Okay, let's see how are we doing this. So let's go here and we have the location edit form. Alright guys, I have to just park this for a while and come back to it because I was really tired. But we have a location edit form. As you can see, I created new records. I deleted the previous ones. And if I go here, then so I was passing ID before. I changed that to underscore ID. And then here's the update location function. And then also here I said underscore ID is equal to the ID we're passing. So before what was happening was this ID was coming in as undefined. That's why it was updating the, I don't know, our locations or none of the locations. So that was the problem. So now one thing I can do, I can just remove this. I can save it. And we're going to now try to edit this 32 Spadina Avenue. Or actually, let's update this one, 32. And I'm going to change this to 3. Let's save. If I go back, boom, that got changed. I'm going to come here and I'm going to change the price of this to, let's say, $15. And I'm going to change this to 4. I'm going to hit save. I go back. I have 15.4. So cool. So there you go. So that's working. And now we have update. We have delete. And we did that. And we have enable and disable. So I think that's pretty nifty. Now, one thing we should also do is we should have a switcher so we can switch between the map view and the card view. Okay, so for that, if we come back here to this one, the dashboard, and under the components, I will create a new file and we are going to call it layout switcher like that .tsx. Okay, and let me close this and we're gonna do this. Cool. So now what we can do is I'm gonna come here and just put everything. I'm gonna get rid of this. Okay, so then we'll create a div and basically it's going to be a flex and it's going to be justify dash end, and then we will do space dash x dash 2, and then I'll do text dash blue dash 500, actually 600, because that's what we have been using. And then I'm going to do padding dash 2 like that. And then inside of it, I'm going to have 2 links, which are going to just switch the 2 views for us. And I'm going to do link. So this is coming from next link like that. And href for this one will be dashboard. like that, and locations, and then we're going to do tile view. Okay, like that. And I'm going to give it a class name, and let's call it bg-white. Okay, and I'm just going to give it rounded borders a little bit. So still this is self-closing. I don't need this other tag. And then actually, sorry, I forgot. We need to give it a an icon. How are we going to see the link? So I can come here, and then inside of it, I can do a list icon from Lucid React like that. All right, cool. So now I just need to do the same thing for the other one. The other one is going to be a map icon. So I'm going to do a map icon like that. And this is going to go to map view. So I should do this. All right, cool. So now that we have this, I think we should use it. So I'm going to close this. We're going to come back here, and we created a template if I am not mistaken. Let me close this, and here's the template. So what I can do here is I can then say layout switcher like that. Let me save it. There you go. So that's what I'm talking about. It looks like the padding is a bit ugly on it. So let me go here and let's see. Why is it not too good? How about padding of 4? Okay, so that's the outside padding. Let me see. I want a little bit more space. Yeah, I need to fix the padding on these guys. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, so padding -1. Cool. So that looks much better. Now, one thing I want is I don't want this to be in this location. So let's see. I think if I'm going to close this because we don't need this anymore. Yeah, we need this here. Okay, that's better. The other thing I want to bring from ShatCN is a separator. So if I come here, here's separator, this line. And what I'll do is I'm going to copy this npm, come here, install. Okay, and then when that is installed, then I can come here and I can say separator from component. So I'm going to give it a class name, and you want to do width dash full. So let's see what that does. Whoops, I need to be here. Of course, we need to close it. All right, okay, so I don't see it. Let me minimize this a little bit so you can see what the heck is going on. I think you need to give it a background. How about 300? All right, now something is coming up. And then what I will also do is margin Y. How about that? So there you go. So now, you know what I will do? I think since blue is everywhere, maybe we should do that. Yeah, so we have this nice kind of subtle blue. You can say line. Anyways, and then I might change this, so I don't know. Now we need to, if I go here, so here we can switch between the tile view and the map view. So that's pretty cool. So now we need to go ahead and add the map view. All right, so for map view, I'm going to kind of minimize this, and let's expand this. We're going to code it out, and then we can use it here. So for that, I'll come to components, and I'll go to new file, and we'll say map.tsx. So by the way, all the dependencies for map, we've already installed them when we did the address autocomplete, like the Google Maps and the Google Maps React stuff. So you can look at that video. Okay, and the map will be a client component. So we're going to do that. And then what I will do, I'll say function map. Okay, and then it's going to be map params. I'm just going to call it like that. And then what it will be map params. It's going to be a string. So we're going to parse it. And then I'm going to come here and I'll say export default map like that. So that's cool. Okay, and then we will do return, and for now I will do this so things are happy. All right, cool. So what I'll do is I'm gonna come here and I'll say const params is equal to JSON dot parse, and I will do map params. Okay, and then I will do as map params. Okay, it's going to be an array. So now what is map params? We need to go ahead to our types and we need to define it. So if I come here and then I will come here and I'll say export type map params like that, and then like this. And so it's going to have an ID which will be of type string, and then it's going to have a whole bunch of other stuff. So there's no need to type this. It's boring because a map has GPS codes, going to have an address, number of spots, book spots, price, and the radius and all that. So that is that. So I'm going to save this and then we're going to go back here and let me do this map params. Yeah, there you go. So that works. And then we also need to define an info window. So what I can do, I can say let info window, let's just do proper casing, and I can do google.maps.info window like that. So we're going to define that, and then what I will do is, so remember how we did in the when we were doing the address autocomplete, we did the API loader to load the library. So we're going to do that here, and I'm going to do nonce. Okay, and I have this nonce here. That's just basically a hash string that I got from the hash string generator. And then I will do Google Maps API key. So since we already have that, I'm just going to use it. env.next. It's going to be next public because we're using it on the client side. Maps API key, and we will just say a string. And then finally libraries. So we already defined that, so I'm just going to do libs. Again, we did this in the tutorial when we were doing the our what do you call it, the address autocomplete. Okay, then we need to get a ref to the element where the map will be hosted. So for that we will use the useRef React hook, and it's going to be an HTML div element like that. Okay, and initially it's going to be null. Okay, like that. And then what we will do is I'm going to use a use effect hook, and in here I will do basically is loaded. So we just want to make sure the library has been loaded, and if is loaded, then what you do is we can say define some map options. All right, so let's just give it a center. So the center is, we'll just take the first, I guess, location. So lat is going to be params 0 dot and then GPS codes dot lat, and then longitude will be params 0 dot GPS codes dot longitude like that. So that's the center of our map. And then what we will do is we need to give it a zoom level. Okay, so the zoom level I'm going to give it 14, and then a map ID. So a map ID you can just set it to whatever you want. I'll just say my map ID, sorry, ID 1 2 3 4 like that. I don't know, probably just to make it unique. So this will be that, and then after you're done with map options, then I'm going to create a Google map variable, and I'll say new Google dot maps, Google Maps map. Okay, so there we go, and give it the ref dot current. Okay, and it's going to be HTML div element, let's see, this one, and the map options. Cool. So this will actually hopefully set the map. Now what we need to do is now we need to set the markers to show like the different locations. So for that, what we will do is we're going to come here, we're going to create a function, we're going to say set markers or set marker, and it's going to take a map. The map is of type google.maps.map like that. So what I will do is immediately I'll say set marker here, and I'll say gmap. Okay, so we create the map and then we start the marker business. So let's get cracking at this. So that info window that we created above, what we will do, we will say info window is equal to new google.maps.info window. Okay, and to this we will say just max width. Okay, it should be this max width, and I'm just gonna stick it 200 here. And then what we will do is, let me see, why is this guy complaining? Info window. Property prototype is missing type window but required in type typo, blah blah blah. Okay, so we probably, I think, Google. Okay, I don't know why, what happened. Let me see. 200, and then I can say, let me see if that will fix it. Info window. Okay, is equal to Google. I think I probably made a mistake here somewhere. Yeah, it was supposed to be not equal, it's supposed to be just a type like that. Okay, that's why we're getting that issue. All right, so then what you do now is we'll pass in a bunch of addresses to this map. So now we just have to kind of loop through and put them on the map. Okay, so I'm going to do params.map. We go through them and we get a location and an index. Okay, so what you do is you basically just create a marker, and we do new google.maps. Now for this one I'm using the advanced marker, so I'm going to do maps.marker, this one, and I'm going to do, this is the new marker element, by the way, so advanced marker element. Okay, so it's going to go on the map. Okay, and then the position is going to be location.gps coords, that's where it's going to go. And then for title, we're just going to give it the address. Okay, so title will be location.address. Cool, so that's going to be that, and then I'm going to save it, and then what we can do is we can see if we can use it actually and see some things, you know, happening. What I will do is I'm going to call this div. Let's call this div. I'm going to come here, and basically what we will do is, let's do this. If is loaded, okay, if it's loaded, then we do a div and give it a ref of that map ref, and that, otherwise we just do like loading. Okay, so that will be that. And the other thing I will do, just for sanity, I'm going to do flex and flex column on this one, space -y -4. Okay, I'm going to save it. So that's that. So now what I think what we should do is we should be able to see the, I think if I'm not mistaken, the map and probably the markers, or maybe not the markers because we haven't actually loaded anything yet. But what I will do is, let me go back here. So here's the layout switcher, and then if I go to map view, oh yeah, so we're not using it, so let's start using it here. Okay, so what we can do is I am going to get rid of this, and with this one I'll just give it a class name of padding-2. Okay, so we need to get first the locations. So this is a server component, so that's why I can just do connect to DB, and that means this needs to be async like that. So once I've connected to the DB, I'm just going to do parking locations, and this is going to be an array of parking location like that. And then I am going to do parking location model, okay, dot find. We grab all of them, okay, like that. And then what I can do, I can say const params, and we need to prepare that map params, remember that we saw. And then what I will do is I'm just going to do my or parking locations dot filter. So we need to filter out the locations that are basically available, right? And then what I will do, I'll say filter, and then we'll say location. I'll say location dot status is equal to parking location status dot available. So once we have those, then we say map we go over them, location, I don't need this, and then I can do basically start preparing the map params. So the first one will be the address, then we need the GPS course, so location.gps course, and then so here's the thing, don't need to type it, we're going to just use them here, and then type is going to be map address. Now, so you must be asking, well, what the heck is this? Well, we need to come here to our types, and we need to define the, so I'm gonna do export enum, and I'll say map address type. Okay, and then what I will do is, so I use this to just load the different icons. That's what I'm doing it like that. And now let's see, map address type dot admin, and finally ID. I'm gonna do location dot, do I have that? Okay, I have that. Cool, so that's that. And then finally here I'll say map. Okay, so that's the map from components map, and then map params, it's going to be json dot stringify, and it's going to be params. Okay, and let's close that off. Cool, so that's that. Let's save it, and let's just do a refresh. Okay, so I saw a loading thing come up, but no map is loaded. Let's see why. If I go to console, there's no error. Okay, so that's just coming from Google, so that's okay. And let's just make sure that I want to console log the params to make sure that we are getting them. So here, as you guys can see, they're actually coming here, the address, the GPS course, blah blah blah. So that's good. So I guess we just need to finish this coding that map thingy, so probably we missed something. So anyway, so we have this set now. I'm gonna close this, we're gonna go back to the map, and let's see. So here we have the map, and so we were here at the marker. Okay, one thing I think I forgot is you need to give it a height. So I will do height. That's probably the reason why it's not showing up. 600 pixel, and okay, there you go. So as you can see, we had two locations, and as you can see, 32 Spadana and 35 Spadana Avenue, and we are having the two markers coming, and they are both on Spadana and very close. Interesting. Cool, I think that's pretty cool. So now these are the generic markers, but I think we need to do some stuff to make them more, as you can say, tasty. Cool, cool. All right, so let's go ahead, and now that I have the marker, then what I can do is I can say if location.type, okay, is equal to map address type dot, if it's a parking location, then we're going to do one thing, okay, and then I'll say else if location dot type is equal to map address type, okay, dot admin. Okay, then we're going to do something else, otherwise we're going to do something else. Okay, so how about we do one for the admin first, so we can actually see what the heck is going on. So I can do marker dot set attribute, all right, and I'm going to set the content attribute, and for this one we need to have this function, and then this function I'm going to put it in the, I think I'll put it in the util. So let's just do Google Maps, okay, and then the function is export const, and we're going to call it build map info card content, like that, and I'm going to pass it a string like the title, the address is a string, and then the total spots as a number, and then price. Okay, I'm going to price that, and it's going to be a number like that. Okay, and it's going to return a string like that. I think I should bring this on. Let me see. This should be like this, and let me see. What am I doing? It should be this, and this should be like that. Cool. So I'm going to bring this on the next line, and then what we need to do is something like this. We don't need this anymore. I'm going to save it. Okay, so this is just a HTML. There's nothing fancy going on here. I need to do this. So all we have is a div with a class name of map info card content, and then we have this other class and this other class, and that the address, this plain HTML. There's nothing fancy going on here. Okay, and we have these classes, the map info card title, and all these. So these one are just CSS classes that I applied the styles, and these classes you have to put them in the global.css file. So let's see here, and what I will do, I'll paste them here from my notes. So all we have is, if you want you can do them, if you don't want you don't have to, but I just did them for aesthetic purposes, and they're just the CSS classes. You can do color, weight, you can do so much with it. So I'm going to save this, and then we're going to close this, and then now if I do build info card content, I'm going to now pass the stuff. For this one, what I will do, I'll say get street from address, and I'll see do location.address, and then I'll go to the next line, and then we're going to pass the location.address again. Location.number of spots is number, and then I'll do location.price.hourly. Since I only have one price, that's why I'm doing it like that. But if you have more, then of course you need to pass the whole object. Okay, and I think I need to do number. Cool. So that will set the attribute for the marker. Let me bring this here, and then what we will do is also, I'll say marker.content. Okay, and then I'll do parking pin. Now you must be asking, well, what the heck is parking pin? So parking pin, we have to go back here and in the utils, and we're going to create this. So I'm going to do export const parking pin. Okay, and it basically is a type of string. I can't type today. All right, so what you do is you do gly glyph image. Okay, and then we're going to do document dot create element like that, and I'm going to create a div element. Okay, so once I have that, then I'll do glyph. Let me scroll up. Glyph image dot inner HTML. Okay, and then we're going to do the ticks like that, and then finally what you do is you say const pin element, okay, is equal to new google.maps.marker.pin element like that, and then you do glyph. It's gonna be glyph image, and then you return the pin element like that. Now what do we put in here? So in here all you do is you just basically create a div with a class name of map pin container that we created in the global.css file, and then remember in the beginning we imported these images, so I put them in the public folder. Let me just show you guys here, and then we're just basically using one of this image, and we pass the name. So that's that. So I'm going to save it, and we're going to come back, and now I'm going to do parking pin. Now it's coming, and then we're going to pass in the type, and for that we need to get the pin type. So what I will do, I'll create yet another function, and then it's going to be get pin type is equal to location map params. It's going to take that, it's going to return a string. Okay, so basically if location dot type is equal to map address type dot destination, okay, then it's going to return a parking destination tr, or otherwise it's going to be parking pin underscore pin underscore tr. So as I said, these are right here in the public folder. As you can see, I'm basically just calling these, and then what you do here is you're gonna do get pin type, okay, and you're gonna pass to it the loc, okay, and it's gonna return you the correct pin type to use. And then once we have done that, if I save it right now, I don't think so this will work because we're not using the marker anywhere. So if I even do a refresh, okay, invalid value error, advanced marker element content pin element must currently be assigned as pin element dot element. So let's just see what's going on. So marker dot content is equal to parking pin. Okay, and oh, actually this should be element. Let's save it. And oh, there you go. So our custom markers are coming up. That's pretty cool. As you can see, the P for parking. Cool. So now let's also finish this one, which is for the parking location. This will be seen by the guest. So what it is, it's the same thing, but there's one difference where we're doing the parking pin, and we need to do the parking pin with index. And the reason why we're doing it this way is because when we show to the guest, we want to show like a number. As if you have seen the demo, you will understand what I mean. But what I will do is I'm going to copy this parking pin, I'll paste it here, and then I'll say parking pin with index like that, and then we're going to pass it an index that's going to be a number like that. And then we will do the same thing where we create the div and all, but let me just see. So we have the map container, and the only thing we will do is right here I'm going to create a div, okay, and the class actually not class name, is going to be map underscore pin underscore id, and then it's going to be a span. Within that span I'm going to put the index. I think I need to do this, and then I'm going to do index and span and then div like this. I'm going to save it. The rest doesn't change, it's exactly the same thing. So what we will do, we're going to go back and let me see, where was it? So it's going to be get parking pin with index. Oh, it should be here with index. So I'm going to save it, and let's see why. Oh yeah, we need to give it the index. So index, and that's why we were getting this index right here. So I'm going to save it. So that's cool. And then the other thing we're going to do is we're going to create a circle. So this will show the radius. So I will do ct circle, and let's do circle is equal to new google dot maps dot circle. We're going to do that, and then we're going to just pass in some parameters. So stroke color, I'm going to make it green, ff00 like that. I think that's green. And then stroke opacity, I am going to stick to 0.8. Then stroke width, let's see, sorry, there's no width. It's going to be 2, and then fill color, we're going to give it a fill, and then I'm going to do #00. So this will also be the same color as that. Or actually, you know what? I'm going to make it this color. And then also we need the fill opacity, so that's going to be 0.35. Okay, and then it's going to be on the map. And then where's the center? Well, we have the lat long thingy we did here, so we're going to center it on this one. And let's see, like that. And then finally we're just going to give it a radius, and that will be the location dot radius. So this will be like a setting thingy. Okay, so once we are done with that, then what we can do is right here, I can do marker.content. It should be content, like that. And we're gonna do destination pin. Now I don't have a destination pin, so I think we're gonna go ahead and create one. For that, I think we can go here to this place, and I will create it here. I'm not going to create it, I'm just going to paste it. But basically what it is, let me do this, I think. Let's see, return pin element. We need to return this. But what it is, same thing, create a glyph image, set the source to this image type, create a pin element, just like what we did here, and return the pin element. So I'm going to save it. I'm gonna go back here, and then I can do destination pin. Okay, and then we say get pin type, and then we're gonna pass the that and then element so that we can display it. And then marker dot set attribute, and the attribute I want to set is content. Okay, and then we're gonna do build map info card content. Now this one before destination. So again, this is very simple, but I'll come here, and where I did the other one, this one, I'm going to paste it beside here. But what it is exactly the same thing as this one, but this one is a little bit simpler. All we have is the title and the address. Okay, so I'm going to save it, because for the admin we want to show the number of spots and all, so that's why we have it like that. But anyway, so I'm going to come here now, and now I'll do this. Okay, that, let's see, that brought it. And to this, what I will pass is get street from address. I'm going to call this function, and I'm going to pass the location dot address, and then we're going to pass the location dot address like that. Okay, cool. So I'm going to save it with that done. Let me just do that. And finally, when we're done with all that, what we also need is, so we're still within this map function. We need to register a click listener. Okay, when we click the marker, so we should show the info window. So I'm going to do marker dot add listener. Okay, you can register these different kind of events. And basically what you do is info window dot close. Okay, and then what I'll do is I'll say info window dot set content. Okay, and then marker dot get attribute, and this is going to be content. So that's why we were setting this attribute, because now we can grab it and set it. And then what I will also do, info window dot open. We're going to open the info window, and it's going to be open on the map, and anchor is going to be the marker. All right, that's a lot of coding. Let's see if it works. Let me refresh this. Okay, so perfect. There you go. So when I click the, as you can see, when I click the marker, as you can see, it's showing the window. Let me click this one. Let me click this one. So that's why we're doing it this way, because if you don't do it this way, it will keep the other marker open. You will have two markers open. But by doing it this way, when I click this one, this is 32 spadina. When I click this one, this is 35 spadina. And then you're getting the number of spots, you're getting the hourly price. I can click here. So that's pretty cool. So we're done with the admin dashboard, the major part of it, where we can add location, we can see it on the map. And while we are at it, let's go ahead and let's add one more, and you guys will see how cool this is. So let's say this one has 4 spots, and since this is an expensive place, I'm gonna do that. Submit it. Cool. So record created. I can go back. When I go to the map view now, perfect. There you go. So the new pin has appeared, and when I click on it, it says 290 Bremner Boulevard. Okay, so that'll be it, and we'll come back.